So let's have a conversation. A conversation about expectations. Over the last few weeks, we've had a couple pay-per-views. We've had WWE Horror Show at Extreme Rules. And last night we had N Shop A Mania. If you haven't heard of N Shop A Mania, just Google it. It is a train wreck, but that's where expectations come in. We were told, as wrestling fans, going into this, that it will be the worst pay-per-view of all time. The worst thing you've ever seen. With Extreme Rules, we're going into a pay-per-view expecting something halfway decent. We get an eye for an eye match, which it was good, but the ending, you could tell it was changed. The Dolph Ziggler versus Drew McIntyre match, good build-up, convoluted stipulations. The Swamp match, I personally thought it was really good. The internet, obviously split down the middle, it seemed. Had a lot of hokiness. But with last night in N Shop A Mania, I'm looking here at the card, and I sat and watched it with a couple beers, and it was a riot. Couldn't stop laughing. You have here a social distanced battle royal where Chico, El Luchador, won to become the first N Shop A Mania champion, which kind of morphed itself into a 24/7 title. I believe at one point it was actually called that. Which, if you haven't seen it, spoiler alert, the end of the night, Chad Too Bad ended up walking out with it. Now, if you're not familiar with who this is, this would be Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson's, shall we say, alter ego? Chad Too Bad would be Carl Anderson, and Sex Ferguson is Doc Gallows, Luke Gallows. You may know him as a different name. So then we kind of go into Nature Boy Paul Lee versus Frankie Coverdale, just ridiculousness. You know, just a headlock that ended up going from the ring down into a field, into a swimming pool. Mind you, this whole thing took place in Doc Gallows' backyard. You know, just nonsense, just craziness. The worst pay-per-view of all time. And it was finished off with a boner yard match between Sex Ferguson and Chad Too Bad, which had a lot of callbacks to the Boneyard match, which the two of them were involved in WWE with The Undertaker at WrestleMania 36. We had a fake hand sticking out of a dirt pile that had AJ Styles' glove on it. We had a Hearst pull up. We had Doc Gallows as Sex Ferguson screaming, "Don't bury me, don't bury me." This whole entire pay-per-view was set up to be a parody, to be the absolute craziest and worst thing that you could have seen. $14.99, but I don't feel like I wasted that money. I feel like I would have wasted my $9.95 on WWE for Extreme Rules for that month. It's all about perspective. To me, it's all about going into it with expectations. I was going into Extreme Rules hoping to have some kind of payoff in stories. I know, naive me, shouldn't have done that. But I'm going into last night's pay-per-view, N Shop A Mania, expecting to just hate it. expecting to just laugh my ass off. But in my opinion, WWE, and I'm not even going to say AEW because AEW is just killing it. They are on a roll, they are on a steamroll, and they got this. But WWE, especially with the news that just came out this last week, are going to have SummerSlam at the end of August, and then a week later have another pay-per-view, WWE Payback. I mean, what are we supposed to do with that? But expectations. With WWE especially, don't set your expectations too high. Just don't. It's not worth it. You're going to be disappointed. Yes, SmackDown this past week did really well. You know, there were a lot of great stories in the end of SmackDown. I mean, my God, just set the internet on fire. The Fiends attacking Alexa Bliss. But then you got Raw, which is just... It's an episodic television. They like to drill into you the longest running episodic weekly television program in history. But they treat it way too much like that. They treat it like it is an actual episodic TV program. The stories sometimes don't match from one week to the next, and if they do, it's very questionable, and it's very, you just really don't know where it's going, and you don't really know how to follow a lot of things. So again, back to the topic of this, your expectations. With SummerSlam coming up in 3 weeks, don't set the expectations so high. Don't expect that you're going to get some, amazing, match, amazing feud, amazing blow off. Because chances are you won't. Set your bar, set your expectations here. And maybe they'll go here. Maybe they'll jump. Maybe they'll go higher. It's hard to say. So what do you think WWE is going to do moving forward? We just had the pay-per-view N Shop A Mania with Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows, which had quite a few former WWE superstars in there and a couple Hall of Famers. We have AEW doing their thing. We have New Japan doing their thing. What do you think WWE is going to do? Do you think they're going to continue on this path where they just, they're just blinders and they don't see anybody else? Do you think that they're going to actually make a change? Personally, I think Pritchard should go. He's got a track record of bad ratings. Look at TNA, look here. Sometimes you just have to say it's not the talent. If you like what you heard, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I have some things coming up here in August and throughout the end of the year, and I hope to see you on the next one.